Christ's claims to the supreme test, I became a Christian. This decision changed my life. Through studying Scripture and the loving mentorship of a pastor, I developed the capacity to love people and sought to serve them instead of use them. I had a terrible temper, but that began to fade. I was able to forgive my father, a raging alcoholic who had torn my family apart. God even gave me the strength to offer forgiveness to the man who sexually abused me as a child. Here's the bottom line. The kind of evidence for Jesus that we explore in this book got my attention. But it was coming to understand the love of God and His kindness that drew me to become a believer. See Romans 2:4. Why do I tell you all this? Because what each of us concludes about the identity of Jesus is the most important decision we will ever make. Let me say this again to make sure it sinks in. What we conclude about the identity of Jesus is the most important decision we will ever make. This is why Jesus asked, "Who do you say that I am?" Mark 8:29. Our answer to this question has implications for how we live our lives and for our eternal destinies. We hope this book will have the kind of impact on you that our examination of the evidence has had on us. Here's a quick overview of the evidence we will explore in this book. Section 1 explores the sources we use to examine the historical Jesus, considering both biblical and extra-biblical sources. Section 2 seeks to discover who exactly Jesus of Nazareth was, looking at the claims he made about himself, as well as the claims his closest followers made about him. Section 3 considers the uniqueness of Jesus in comparison with other religious figures. Section 4 examines a popular objection from the online community of skeptics, that Jesus is just a copycat of other dying and rising gods from the ancient Near East. Section 5 addresses the evidence that Jesus fulfilled prophecy, responds to some common objections, and discusses why prophecy matters. Sections 6 and 7 examine the most important event of human history, the resurrection of Jesus. We will look at key historical facts such as the death, burial, and appearance stories of Jesus, and consider whether any naturalistic hypotheses can account for these facts as well as for the resurrection. In Section 7, we explore why the resurrection matters for both Christian theology and the practice of the Christian life. This book can be used for individual study, group study, or in a classroom. It is not written primarily for scholars, but rather for both believers and skeptics who want to begin a journey into the historical evidence for Jesus. If you want further study, we recommend you check out our more in-depth book, Evidence That Demands a Verdict. Finally, we hope you will read, study, and share what you discover in this book with family, friends, neighbors, and those online. Are you ready? Let's begin. Section 1. The Historical Evidence for Jesus. When I researched for the first edition of Evidence That Demands a Verdict in 1972, I did not include a chapter on the existence of Jesus. Why not? As far as I could tell, there was little doubt Jesus existed. I certainly had no problem concluding Jesus was real. The primary question was not if Jesus existed, but whether he claimed to be God and rose from the dead. The vast majority of scholars today, across a wide range of perspectives and disciplines, collectively believe Jesus was at least a historical figure who lived and died in the 1st century A.D. Even the agnostic New Testament scholar Bart Ehrman has written a book defending the existence of Jesus. Did Jesus exist? The historical argument for Jesus of Nazareth. Yet on a popular level, largely because of the ubiquity of the internet,